Pastor Ed here with Daily Devotions for Wednesday, October the 2nd, 2024. Our reading for today is Psalm 87, verses 1 through 3, and then 5 through 7. In my study Bible, my Augsburg Fortress Study Bible, this psalm they all kind of do have a title. It's The Joy of Living in Zion. And it goes like this. On the holy mount stands the city he founded. The Lord loves the gates of Zion more than all the dwellings of Jacob. Glorious things are spoken of you, O city of God. And of Zion it shall be said, this one and that one were born in it, for the Most High himself will establish it. The Lord records as he registers the peoples, this one was born there. Singers and dancers alike say, all my springs are in you. What this begins to touch out the joy of living in Zion, the joy of living in what God has prepared for us, has a lot to say about contentment. There's the old story about two friends meeting each other on the street one day, and one of them looks really sad on the verge of tears. And his friend says to him, what happened to you? You know, what's wrong? And the sad fellow said, let me tell you, 3 weeks ago my uncle died and left me $40,000. Well, that's a lot of money, said his friend. But you see, the sad man continued, 2 weeks ago, a cousin I never knew died, left me $85,000 free and clear. And the friend replied, well, that sounds like you've been very, very blessed. You don't understand, the sad fellow interrupted. Last week, my great aunt passed away. I inherited almost $250,000 from her. And the friend was really confused now. And he said, then why are you so sad? And the answer was, because this week I didn't get anything. Contentment. Someone once, Rodney Buchanan, said, I am really content until I start looking through the Sears catalog. Remember those? I don't even think they exist anymore. I liked my car until I saw the new PT Cruiser. So this is a little dated. I'm satisfied with my clothes till I stroll through American Eagle or the other stores in the mall. I love our home until I think of what it would be like to own a log cabin on the shore of some remote lake. I'm satisfied with every area of my life until I start comparing with someone else's life. I feel like I have enough of everything until I see someone who has more. Maybe you've heard of Ernest Hemingway, the famous writer, really a literary genius. But unfortunately, he said of his own life, I live in a vacuum that's lonely as a radio tube. When the batteries are dead, there's no current to plug into. A startling statement given the fact that Hemingway's life would be the envy of just about anybody who had bought into the values of our modern society. He was known for his tough guy image, his globe-trotting pilgrimages to exotic places. He was a big game hunter, a bullfighter, a man who could drink the best of them under the table. He was married 4 times, lived his life seemingly without moral restraint or conscience, but on a sunny Sunday morning in Idaho, he took his own life. Janice Toby writes, surely we think if I could just get that job, everything would be fine. And then I could do all the things I've been looking forward to doing. Or some of us might be saying to ourselves, when I get that degree, then I can establish my life, my career, and really get going. We might also be feeling this way if we're looking for a new residence or getting ready to move. That once we've moved and are settled in, then we can establish ourselves and our lives. But God reaches into our lives and establishes us in a peace that does not depend on outward appearances. We may be in the midst of change or even turmoil, and we may not know what will happen next in our lives, but when God establishes us, we can rest our hearts in his peace, knowing that God is leading us on and that all will be well. The Lord Most High will establish it. There's a myth of contentment that kind of touches on. Charles Spurgeon once said, you say, if I had a little more, I'd be very satisfied. And when you do that, you make a mistake. He says, if you're not content with what you have, you'll never be satisfied if it were doubled. Someone else said, to be satisfied with little is hard. To be satisfied with a lot, well, that's impossible. One of the keys to contentment, according to Stephen Sheen, in your work and finding fulfillment in every area of life is learning to be thankful for what you've been given. Wanting to move ahead in your career is not a problem unless it means that you take where you are for granted. As one person wrote, if you're not thankful for what you've got, it's doubtful that you'll ever be thankful for what you'll get. Contentment and peace is found in a thankful heart. G.K. Chesterton said, when it comes to life, the critical thing is whether you take things for granted or take them with gratitude. And someone said, contentment comes when we remember that what God chooses is far better than what we choose. And finally, someone wrote, none but God can satisfy the longings of the immortal soul. As the heart was made for him, only he can fill it. And that reminds me of the quote from St. Augustine that I used the other day, maybe it was yesterday even, and a prayer that we'll end with again. St. Augustine said, O Lord, you made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until they find their rest in you. Contentment is not in that next stage of life or the next thing we acquire. It's finding our rest in God. Amen. Well, have a great day as always, and hope to see you again tomorrow. Until then, take care. Bye.